Hello everyone, this is Alex, and today we're going to talk about a little orchestration trick to help you start from a simple chord and to get into such a large polyphonic texture within the orchestra, something that is very complementary, writing that is very complementary, and all these individual lines. Well, I'll show you how to have them sound like they are part of one bigger idea, but that also for your orchestra sound not to feel like just a bunch of block of chords, which is not very orchestral friendly. In general, it's something that comes from writing on the piano, and then you work on the piano, you do a bunch of chords, then you try to write all of these notes, these block of chords through the orchestra, and then it just sounds not orchestral. It just sounds like a big piano with the orchestra, which is not necessarily what you want. So I'm still in my residency now here. I'm here, it's actually my last day, so this might be my last video from this series. I apologize for the sound and for the image quality, but hopefully this will help you to get a little idea on how I work away from the computer as well, and how it can be beneficial to you. So let's dive in. So first, this is the result of the score. This is from my first symphony. This is not quite the beginning of the piece. This is like actually 9 pages in. So it's about like 5-6 minutes in the piece. So yeah, this part here, I wanted to have something very large and very like not necessarily melodic. I wanted it to be just big textures of chords, and by that I mean there's like a chord changing every like two bars. So this is a chord, this is another chord. This one's actually lasts 3 bars, and this is a third chord for 2 bars, and then that's another one. But they're all part of this idea of a chord progression. So for this, I start from the piano and I actually use a kind of a reduction like this. It's usually only rhythmic idea. So what you see here is actually not actual pitches, but they are some ideas about where the lines should be leading, and then afterwards I input in the actual notes, actual instruments, giving more details into this. But for the section I want to look at today, it's this part here. So it starts here, and these chords actually work on them on the piano, and you see it's quite like dissonant chord. Some of these notes, like here's a E natural, and then the E flat here. So there's a little bit like small modulations between these different chords, but not like such big changes. But some notes are quite surprising. Like here you have a D sharp, but we also have a C and a D, so it's kind of a chromatism that we present here, that we int here. Yeah, and amongst this, maybe some more distance in general in the upper line, and a little bit closer in the middle register. And this change and this evolves into something that's going lower and lower. And here I added the F clef, the low bass clef. And yeah, and this goes to a suspended chord to a fermata. But we're not gonna see the whole chord progression. I just wanted to show you that just starting with finding the chords, finding the notes that you want, and the chord progression that you like, can help you then to make a plan for what you're going for afterwards. And if you know that, like this section, like I said, this section, I wanted something that's very polyphonic, that's very suspended, some lines going up and down in all of the different instruments, like something a little bit, you know, that's flying, notes flying all around. But yeah, but since I've started with this chord progression, I'll show you how I arrange this. So at first, I use some of these notes from this first chords. So this is A flat, C, D, E, F, G. So this is a very dense chord because all the notes are, it's like a cluster, but it's not such a dissonant cluster. Maybe just it hint maybe certain maybe the F major an F major mode. But yeah, I start from this, and first thing I wanted to do was to do these strings. So you see that the strings here are doing pretty much the notes that are in my original paper, original chord. So this upper line here, do, fa, do, sol, fa. So this is what I use here. I'm trying to, sorry. This is what I use here. So do, fa, do, sol, fa, mi, and this goes down. It use all the notes from this here, and same thing for this here, but it's the rhythm is a little bit different, and it presents different notes, different notes from this. You also have this lower register that also doing this. So the four strings here, oh, it's actually the harp, sorry. This is the harp, first violin, second violin, and viola. All of them are presenting everything that I need from my chord. So afterwards, well, I don't need to use the cello here. I didn't want to use the bass. I wanted something, a texture to be in the middle to high register. So just using these chords, these instruments are fine. But then what do we do afterwards to bring this to the full orchestra? Because this is just like a string orchestra with harp. So same thing here, I'm doing also using notes from the chord, but I'm presenting them with different rhythms. And this is the flute up here. So there's just one flute attacking the higher note, and then using a trill. So you see that even the material is a little bit different. There's not it's not like a held note. It's not like a clear arpeggio like this too. It's moving around a little bit more. The rhythmic, it's faster as well with the flute. The solo instrument, you can allow them to do this. It's actually, you have two flutes here, two oboe, two clarinets, two bassoons. But here I'm deciding to just use one. So this is particularly useful when you want kind of a solo effect within your orchestral texture. And I'm doing the same here with the oboe. This is the oboe. And it's playing in not necessarily in the same register here. I actually planned very carefully what the notes from the chords were, and making sure that they complement each other and that they don't. We actually hear the oboe in its register and the flute in its register. They're not disturbing each other. And then here, that's the A flat, and this is my high bassoon. And the high bassoon is actually repeating the lowest note from the chord. It's actually answering this. So this is where I felt like, oh, this is interesting to have the strings answered by the woodwinds. So this is a small idea that I had, that the woodwinds would be a little bit freer in terms of the different layers that I'm presenting, and here they would be mostly together. So this is something I repeated here with the second chord, the second one here. I repeated that. I decided, oh, maybe I could use a little pickup here. So this is the pickup before we get into the new chord. That's it. Adding in some also a bass line here, like the A flat is presented, the A flat actually an octave lower than this one. So still expanding a little bit from my original idea. I don't hesitate to do this. It's just, you know, this is a starting point, and then you're free to do whatever you want. But having this as a guide to me is very, very important. And then adding in different kinds of effect, here a trill, also adding in a little bit more dynamic. At first it's pianissimo, yeah, that's pianissimo, and then to mezzo piano, back to pianissimo, and then the third chord to mezzo forte and pianissimo. So this is something I reacted to when I started writing these three chords. I was like, well, how can we make them evolve a little bit and make them, you know, make the feel it like a progression. Even though I didn't have any indication about dynamics, this is where I added them. Yeah, to make it feel like there's a sense between this. And the fourth chord is actually this one here is actually the same one here. So we feel like we're starting over, but in the piece there's different. Then the chord progression goes elsewhere. So it's I haven't this is actually I haven't composed later. I mean, I've stopped here, so I'm not sure where this will all lead me, but still this is a good starting point maybe for you to see. The second chord, you see that the woodwinds are doing different rhythms again, and even like instead of their entrances are a little bit the same. So flute first, and then you got the clarinet. That's the oboe, sorry, that's starting after. But you see that the bassoon here is starting at the same time. And then instead the clarinet to be a little bit later, and then it's a little bit closer. And we have arpeggios. Instead of an arpeggio going down, we have arpeggios going up. So this is a way to just create a difference. You don't have to, when you develop a pattern like this, you don't have to repeat exactly the same shape. So this is something I like to do to keep it more alive, but it's still the same idea, an idea that strings, woodwinds, strings, woodwinds. It's just a little bit different each time, and then strings, and then woodwinds. Yeah, and I even adding, these are brass instruments, these are trumpet here, playing the A flat. And note that the A flat from the I bassoon is transferred to the A flat to the trumpet, but with the sordini, so with a mute, so it's not as loud as trumpet would be normally. Yeah, and still playing with this a little bit here, adding a horn, two horns actually on the second chord. So trying to do some little variations here and there. But yes, this is my approach to how to start from a simple chord and transforming this into a full-blown orchestral piece. Obviously, this piece is not performed yet. I'm just composing it. I just composed this part today. So eventually, maybe later this year, I'll present you maybe a mock-up of this section, or eventually the recording. The recording will be made in 2028, so until then we might have other things to discuss, but eventually I'll bring this back and do some more analysis on the score. Thank you for listening. I hope this helped. Give me a comment down below, and make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.